Hi and welcome to Australian Gamers Friday Night Podcast. I'm Matt.
And I'm Yug.
Tonight we'll be talking about PSP stuff, price drops and news.
Final Fantasy Overload.
And Nintendo and Telstra join forces.
Overload.
You know, I actually wanted to change Nintendo and Telstra join forces to Nintendo Wii's in the Big Pond, but then I realised it was actually the DS anyway.
That's actually pretty good though.
It would have been better if it was the Wii.
I like that analogy. But
it's not an analogy.
Yes, it is.
It's a
yes,
joke.
it is. No, it's an analogy.
An analogy is when you try to make a point by using...
It's an analogy. The good thing is that
yes,
no matter what is the truth of that, no matter what the real...
Yes, you're right. It's an allergy.
I'm sorry. Let's talk about Nintendo and Telstra joining forces. I've lost it.
You so have. Now apparently they've joined forces in order to provide a wireless connection for DS owners.
Which means that now all of our dreams of sitting in McDonald's and playing Mario Kart against random people halfway across Australia will actually become reality.
Yes. Just after that, they're installing Keeley Hazel in my bedroom. That's my other dream.
I'm disappointed. I don't know who this Keeley Hazel actually is.
I actually was going to post a non-naughty picture of her, so I looked her name up on Google, and then went to images, thinking that that it would just be non-naughty photos, but no, it was just almost all naughty photos, and I had to close it down really quickly.
This is the thing. I mean, I've never heard of her before, so is she one of these celebrities that suddenly become a celebrity because of this well-produced tape?
No, she was relatively well known before that. She's been on the cover of FHM like any number of times.
Just like every other random woman.
Yeah, like girls like Imogen Bailey and stuff. I'm not saying that she's a fine actor and that she'll be the next, Charlize Theron and do a movie like Monster where she gets made up to look like some ugly lesbian woman. But I am just saying she's a hottie and she has nice norgs. That's pretty much as far as my appreciation of her talents goes.
And fair enough. I think that's completely alright.
It's entirely Norg based. It really is. So they're putting in wireless hotspots in a wide range of places. By wide range, I mean McDonald's and Starbucks.
That is a wide range.
That is actually, when you think about it, a pretty wide range.
Yeah.
So yes,
we had a phone ringing.
We've had a phone ringing.
For that. Anyway, let's keep going.
Yes.
But the point was that previously the only real free hotspots you had, what they were saying was in like EB Games and things like that. Places where you would
you don't exactly go to play.
Whip out your DS.
No.
You just don't do that. Whereas McDonald's, I can see it. I can see a bunch of people actually sitting there eating, and then like one's like, I'm just going to play a bit of... I don't know. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I do get what you mean. I think there's something else that needs to be pointed out, and I think it's probably more important than the actual release.
Literally point. I want to see you point. Yep, okay. You're pointing to the screen.
See everyone?
I can see
I want to point out that the Nintendo Wi-Fi... what is it? NintendoWiFi.com.au has some news on it, and the news is dated from the 30th of the 3rd, 2006.
Yep.
Now, they need to get some serious news happening really quickly.
They update almost as often as we do.
No, less often than we do, and I didn't think that was possible.
I didn't either, but Nintendo seems to have done it.
They seem to have mastered
that. And that is the Australian Wi-Fi site as well. So
actually, when you go to NintendoWiFi.com.au,
you do choose your...
You do choose.
I think the other ones are actually updated a little bit more recently than that.
The funny thing is, you go to NintendoWiFi.com.au...
Yeah.
Which you would think would be
but it takes you to
Australia.
Choose Your Country.
Then it goes to choose your country. Now, I would think it would just go, you know what? Australia. I'll just give you Australia. Then it goes to /global, which is the whole world.
Yeah.
And then puts location equals Australia. So it's kind of the Australian version, the global version, the Australian version. I just think that's kind of stupid.
It is. Yes.
All right, moving on. What were we moving on to? Let's move on to something.
Let's move on to something. Hey, can I just add how unbelievably exhausted and tired I was after coming back from Perth?
Yeah.
And I believe you were as well. We caught a flight that left Perth, I believe, at about 11 o'clock at night and got back into Brisbane at 5 a.m.
Yeah, it was awful.
Or something like that.
Yeah, I got to bed at 6:30. and I had to be at work at 8:30.
You went straight to work.
Yeah, it was horrible.
I came home and I slept for 12 hours.
I didn't.
You didn't? How did that work for you?
Not well. And then the next morning, I was so dead, and I got into work, and I got a talking to. Wasn't very good. Which is my third week of work.
Already.
I know, it's my third week of work,
yeah.
And I've already been told not to be late anymore. So I was just like, I was doing really well until this week because of the being so tired.
Yeah, yeah.
Like I've still been tired every night. So yeah, next week I'll just make sure from now on I'll be all good. They said they don't mind every now and then. It's just been a bit regular for the week. So
yeah, of course.
Sucky.
Well, anyway, like, yeah, that's all I want to say on that. I just thought I'd, because we did our podcast on Sunday with Brett, and then.
Did you end up putting that photo of me looking like something from Resident Evil?
No, I didn't. I know this might. I do play editor a little bit. I do pick and choose some of the better and the not so good photo. If it's a classic photo, like the photo of us actually out on the Saturday night, there was only one photo of us out, sort of thing. So I had to use that one, but. There were quite a few photos taken when we were doing the podcast.
Yeah,
and that one with you, where you looked particularly retarded.
Yeah.
I thought, in the best interest of Australian Gamer.com, as much as I wanted to put that up.
Just for our reputation, it's just not good.
Yes, our reputation.
Because I looked like something. I looked like the undead with a SingStar mic.
You know
it's
what?
a disturbing image.
This really sucks, because I have to put it up now.
Yeah.
You realise that?
That's fine.
Okay.
Even the sexy... I've seen photos of very hot people that look ugly because they just happen to have had a bad photo taken.
Hot. This is the problem.
I am hot.
You've gone from ugly to scary. All right.
I'm hot in the rare moments, in the long moments between the occasional photo. It's like a split second of bad.
No.
Surrounded by
oceans. No.
Anyway, so Final Fantasy Overload.
An overload.
I don't like him.
A Final Fantasy. You don't have a choice.
No.
What are we going to do? Split up? You'll go and do your own side. And I'll take over the reins of Australian Gamer.
That's crazy talk.
That may have worked back when I was not drinking.
Yes. Anyway, so what were we up to? Yeah. Square Enix now.
There's basically, there was just a little article that we read, which is basically saying, hey, these are all the Final Fantasy, and not Square Enix games, Final Fantasy games. Square Enix itself does a whole bunch more games than this. They've got Dragon's Quest 9, I think, coming out on the DS soon. They've got others as well.
They've got a few others, like
they've got a few others,
things that are Japanese. They've got a bunch of Japanese things that we don't know.
The point being is that these are... I'm actually going to
just read them out, because this is what's
These
impressive.
are all the Final Fantasy
and
games.
And read the platform as well, because I think that's interesting.
Final Fantasy PlayStation Portable, Final Fantasy 12 Reverent Wings Nintendo DS, Final Fantasy Tactics Shinshi Senshu PlayStation Portable, Final Fantasy 2 PlayStation Portable, Crisis Core Final Fantasy 7 PlayStation Portable, Final Fantasy 13 PlayStation 3, Final Fantasy Agito 3 13 mobile phones, Final Fantasy Versus 13 PlayStation 3, Final Fantasy 7 Advent Children Blu-ray disc, Final Fantasy Chronicles The Crystal Bearers Wii, Final Fantasy Chronicles Rings of Fate Nintendo DS, Before Crisis Final Fantasy 7 iMode, Final Fantasy 11 PlayStation 2, PC and Xbox 360.
All right, now I'm going to say one thing quickly, which I think needs to be stated.
Yes.
One of those doesn't really count because just releasing Advent Children on Blu-ray is not really a new release.
And
so I'm going to
Final
dismiss
Fantasy
that.
11 already out on the PlayStation?
Well, that was what I was wondering. It's what it came out on.
I am confused there.
Maybe they're
me confused. Me confusey.
Me confusey. Yes, no, I don't know. That one's a bit odd.
The point.
Maybe they're releasing. Maybe they're re-releasing it.
Those two off. The point is that suddenly,
that's
for a franchise where...
That is still a metric arse load.
For a franchise where... I remember, alright, playing Final Fantasy 7, and it's like, Final Fantasy came out, Final Fantasy 8 came out, it was like, wow, this is amazing. And then Final Fantasy 9 came out like about a year later on PlayStation. I didn't get to play it, and then Final Fantasy... Like, there was a natural progression.
Yeah, what they did...
went from 7 to 8... to 9 to 10.
I was just going to say they had this clever thing where they added a number on and then made a different game.
It actually really worked.
It was effective. Yeah, it was an effective strategy. Now, I think also it's worth pointing out that there's like a Final Fantasy game coming out on every platform under the sun except
The Dreamcast.
No, every current platform
Right.
except the N-Gage,
Right.
which I don't think is a current
You
platform.
know what? Actually, I reckon the N-Gage should count because Final Fantasy Agito 13 is coming out on mobile
phones. Yeah, but that's a bit of a con. But I'd also want to ask, what the hell is an iMode?
It's a really popular phone in Japan, as far as I know.
Oh, okay.
Actually, you know what? I am pulling that out of
No,
my
that's
arse.
good.
I am
Go with
making
it.
that up, but,
Go with it. Yeah,
that.
no.
Let's run with that.
Oh, the iMode.
Yeah, oh, yeah. That's
It's
right.
actually, it's probably, if
That's
it's Japanese.
massive in Japan, man.
It's probably
huge.
It's probably Imode. That's probably why I didn't recognize it, because I know it as the Imode.
Of course.
Yeah, so,
yeah. I know it as the internode mode phone. I don't know.
Is there any part of you that thought that through before saying
Internet mode phone. So I said, did I say internet? I meant
Yeah,
internet.
you said internet. You said internode.
I meant internet. The internet mode phone. Which means it has a mode where you can browse the internet.
No, I knew where you were going then.
Good.
Once you said internet mode, I understood.
Well, maybe if I said it's the internode phone, that just means it has to go through
You
that
said the
that
internode
provider.
mode phone. And I had no idea what you were getting at.
That's
So I
not
just
quite-
went, yeah.
That actually has quite a nice rhyme to it, actually. I'll have you know. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Yeah, that's really good.
Yeah.
So yeah, there is an awful lot.
Hey, happy Easter, everyone, too.
Oh my God, yes. I said at work today to someone at work, Happy Jesus is Dead Day. And they looked at me very strangely. Apparently that's not an acceptable thing to say.
No. You know, even for people that aren't Starks, that's a very nasty thing to say.
And one of the guys, one of the guys at work stood up and he put his arms out sideways. And I'm like, okay. And he said, "What's this?"
Oh,
And
no.
I'm like, I don't know. He said, "Crappy way to spend Easter." Crappy wasn't the word he used, but
All right, let's move on before we completely insult probably a quarter of our listening audience.
no, that's all right. I know the dumb quarter. All right, so moving on past heresy now, on to the PSP. Now, I wanted to talk about the PSP.
You
because
always want to talk about
I
the
do.
PSP.
I always want to talk about the PSP because
Okay.
it just. I want to say three things about the PSP.
You want to
Four
say
things about
a
the
million,
PSP.
billion, gazillion things about the PSP. Every single point I don't actually care about. I just want to make that clear right now to everyone else out there that doesn't have a PSP because we don't care.
Go get a coffee or something.
Go get a coffee. I'm going to pour myself another drink, okay? While we're waiting for Matt to finish up. Matt?
I
go
actually
for it.
do need to talk to you about something
Oh,
here, so don't
God.
actually go and get it. The first thing is just to say quickly, there's been a release of a announcement of a price drop
But
in
not
the
in
US.
Australia.
Not in Australia. This is just the US. Now it's possible, probably even that it'll come over here. So
Hey, you know what? Crazy thought. Why don't we actually contact Sony Australia and ask for their input?
let's do exactly that. Now that's basically dropping by US $30 to $170, and which makes it about Australian $210. So that's fairly substantially cheaper
How much
than
is
it is
the PSP
here.
now? It's about $300.
I think it's about $300 here because it's $400 with the whole media pack thingy
Right.
doobie.
Yep.
So that's actually a quite reasonable price drop.
That
of
is
about $80.
that is very good.
And actually probably a necessary price drop, if nothing else. Now, I'll just quickly jump on to two other things I want to say.
Jump away, yes.
I'm going to jump, and then but I want to come back
Frog
to the
hop,
price drop.
Actually, from point to point. It's not a real jump. It's more of a leap.
No,
It's a hop.
yeah.
And people can hop over you at the same time. So
Yeah,
it
cool.
means you can jump to one point and then
No,
I can
leap-
skip
like a
completely over the top
Like
of
a
you.
leapfrog.
Yeah, exactly.
Can I talk now?
Can you?
Yes. Yes, so the other thing was that Worms is coming out on the PSP and the DS, which I think is cool, because if there's any...
love Worms.
Everyone loves Worms. Anyone who doesn't love Worms is either defective in some way.
Do you know, just for our readers out there, I don't know if you remember this, Matt. But
Oh, yeah. I
When
remember it well.
when we started AustralianGamer.com, when we did our first comic and put the site live online, the game at that time that we played more than any other game at all, Worms.
Yeah.
Worms Armageddon, I believe. No, Worms World Party.
Worms World Party. Yeah, we had the network set up. We had the two machines networked together, and we used to just sit and play Worms all the time.
I know Worms is a game that can quite easily be played on the same screen. That's half of its appeal.
Yeah,
sort of
yeah.
thing, but Yeah, we had a network and we could have played anything. We could have played any network game out there, and we
played Worms. Yeah, because there's just not many games that are more fun.
Because Worms is awesome, and they had to go and make it 3D and completely ruin it.
Yeah, it's nowhere near as much fun.
So I'm actually quite happy about that. Do you know if there's going to be any? Do you know if you're going to die?
I may die.
Okay,
I believe I have tuberculosis.
Really, which is kind of weird considering I'm the one that smokes. So
I suspect you gave me tuberculosis.
Second-hand tuberculosis.
Do you know what? I think my body is just trying to die to get away. Anyway,
to get away from you.
Yes.
It's sick of you, so it's trying to die. Anyway, look, what I want to ask is there any extra functionality with Worms for the DS?
Yes.
You actually don't know it all, do you?
Not at all. But I think that I think the problem with Worms, the only thing that's a bit tricky with Worms is the controller. It's always been takes a bit of getting used to, up, and fire, and I think they would use.
I always found that was half of the appeal. Actually, the fact that you had wind to take into account, how much you'd actually let the rockets go or things like that. Like there are all these variables, and you could never ever truly be completely and utterly accurate with whatever you were shooting.
There was always the risk that grenade would come back to visit.
There was. I thought that was half of the appeal was like seeing Matt do his move. Sorry, we had technical difficulties there, and Matt would actually throw the cluster grenade straight up in the air. Not straight. Like he'd aim it forward, but the wind would blow it back. And as soon as we both realised what was happening, I just hear this expletive coming from Matt's room, yes. Like across the hallway. Oh, and yeah, then that was half the fun because I had a lot of fun when you did that.
Yes,
that was a random little story.
It was a random little story. So it was funny at the time.
Okay. That's good.
It was less funny to be told about it on a podcast. But anyway,
the control scheme you think is a problem?
No, I just think that if you've got access to the sort of control system that the DS could do, you'd be crazy not to use it.
Yeah, that's true.
Not to have, drag for power, drag for direction,
you know
that kind of stuff.
I know this might sound kind of strange, and it could have just been the DS Lite that I actually had during our trips to Perth, but I played a lot of Lemmings on the DS.
Okay. That didn't look very good.
Well, it looked like Lemmings.
Meh.
So Lemmings is the classic old original Lemmings sort of thing.
Yeah, I guess.
Right? And it was impossible to actually play. And I think it might just maybe because the DS Lite that I had is like a bit scratched on the bottom screen or something. I don't know, but micromanagement on the DS actually.
You seem to be doing alright on Kirby.
Yeah, but Kirby was a bit different. Kirby is actually long strokes and things like that.
Yeah, it was a little bit less fiddly.
Lemmings was selecting things by pixel sort of thing. All I'm saying is with Worms, it is a very small characters on a big screen kind of game.
Yeah, no, I don't necessarily agree because I think all you'd need is the ability to tap on a worm and then drag to fire.
You have no idea how difficult it was to tap on a lemming.
It's not a lemming.
It's the same size and same concept, though.
No, I think that'd be a bit bigger.
Well,
but regardless.
I am very open to the concept. Anyway.
There was a third PSP thing I wanted to mention.
I'm sure there was. Mention away.
I cut up all of my PSP games.
No, you didn't.
You're looking at me quite bizarrely. Yes, I did.
No, you really didn't.
I kind of did. I cracked all of the cases open and pulled all the discs out.
No, you didn't.
Yeah, I did. Most of them. Not all of them. Just some.
Right.
So now I can carry them all separately. You're looking at me like I've gone completely barking mad.
You know why?
Why?
Because you've gone completely barking mad. What the hell is wrong with you? Can you still play them in your PSP?
Yeah, absolutely.
What do you mean, absolutely? The only way to load them in is in one of those little things.
Yep. So I've got one that I put them in.
Okay, so you've got one case that you've cracked open.
Yep.
And you put the CDs in that one case,
yep.
And then you stick it in the PSP,
yep.
And it works.
Yep.
Still say you're barking mad.
It's cool, because I can carry all of the PSP games in one little casing.
Yep.
Rather than about 5.
You know, Oh, God damn it.
What?
Makes sense.
And the coolest thing is,
all right,
instead of being these big cartridge things, they're actually like tiny little silver discs.
Which is interesting because, you know, I always, the first time I saw those little UMD things, I actually thought, that's brilliant. My God, you know, excellent, because these CDs would get scratched to all hell. Now they've got this protective casing on them and there'll be no problems and things like that. You've gone and completely eliminated that.
Well, there's a couple of factors with that. One, stuff can get in that cartridge, and if it does, it's going to scratch like anything, and there's no way to get stuff out that goes in there.
Yeah.
Secondly, regardless of it scratching, it's still literally 4 times bigger when it's in the cartridge than it is out of it.
You're not going to play every single game you take with you, though.
No, but I want to have it.
Okay.
My movies alone would take up one disc, one case.
But you've seen all those movies.
I have, but I watch them quite regularly when I travel.
Really?
With the exception, I've watched Hellboy a couple of times. I'll watch Constantine anytime.
Yep.
Serenity's well worth a watch at any time.
Yep, true.
And Spider-Man's a pile of crap.
Oh, really? You don't like Spider-Man?
Spider-Man 2 was appalling.
You don't like Spider-Man 2?
No, I thought it was terrible. But it was free.
Oh my God.
But anyway, the point is, I have them and I can travel with them, and I think they're cooler.
All right, that is actually pretty cool.
There's actually a feature on how I did it on the site.
We're about to put it up, yeah.
We're about to put it up soon.
Or we will put it up soon. So,
possibly either by the time you read this or just shortly after. This. Or just shortly after. By the way, I don't by any means advocate doing it. It's a really dumb idea, and it'd be mental to do it.
Your warranty. I mean, but
it voids your warranty on the unit and on the.
If you are someone like Matt who does have 30 PSP games, and for some strange, obscure reason, you feel all warm and fuzzy inside if you have them on you at all times. Well, yes, this sounds like a reasonable solution.
The other thing is, because they're review titles, they can't be sold or anything like that anyway. So yeah. Cool.
Are there any other PSP points, or I mean, just to
no, that was pretty much it.
No,
that was pretty much it. But I did want to get back to the price drop thing soon, and not with regard to the PSP. People have been saying, "I'll get a PS3." You've practiced that.
Go on, keep going.
People have been saying I'll get a PS3 when the price drops closer to Christmas. Now, do you think there's any reason to think that the price actually will drop?
Only because people automatically assume that because the console is so damn expensive at the moment. But if you look at things, if you were
Sony and it was coming up to Christmas, would you drop the price?
Yes, actually.
But don't they already lose like $300 per unit? Wouldn't that just mean they would lose $400 per unit?
Absolutely. But if they sell more units, then it's worth it. It's the same with any console.
But shouldn't they, in that case, just give them away for free?
I would say that by the end of the year, I mean, in the respective consoles in general, I mean, by the end of the year, the console. What do you mean? Should they give them away for free?
Well, then everyone would have one, and then they'll sell more.
No,
games.
because then they, as opposed to them losing a couple of hundred on a console or something like that, this way they actually they don't lose. If they gave it away,
but everyone would have one. My point is just the same as your point. I've just taken it further than you have.
You have taken it further than I think that there is a possibility there might be a price drop by the end of the year for a couple of reasons. One, in the next 9 months, the possibility of some of the components in the PlayStation 3 being cheaper to produce are pretty high.
Which has already happened, and that's what happened with the
Exactly. Two, for the PlayStation 3 to actually remain competitive against the other or against the 360, it has to have a price drop soon. It just does. The Xbox 360 has had a price drop. There is nothing that would suggest that the same thing that happened to the original Xbox when it came out. Does everyone remember that? $700 and something. It was
$795. I think was its original retail.
Like and then, not more than a couple of weeks later, there was a price drop, or a month later, a price drop, and everyone that actually bought an Xbox 360 at launch got the option to get an extra controller and a game or 2 games.
All right, let's not confuse our platforms here, because that was the original Xbox, not the 360.
Yeah.
You just said 360.
I thought I said the original Xbox. But
you did the first time, and then you said the
okay,
Xbox
well, look,
360.
that is the original. That's what happened with the original Xbox. It is not unheard of. It is not unreasonable to expect a price drop before Christmas. But most importantly, is by Christmas, the PS3 will have a much more market saturation, or people will have a lot more of a concept of it. It's just going to be a lot more accessible. It's going to become less of a luxury item and more of just another gaming console, I would imagine. Whether there's a price drop or not, there's going to be more deals from EB and Targets and things like that. There's going to be cheaper games. Resistance, F1, they're all going to be cheap as chips. Not as a packet of chips. Unless they're really, really good chips. I have had a packet of chips once that cost me $15.
How did you manage that?
That was up in not Mount Cootha, up past Dayborough in Brisbane.
Right.
They were hand-cut chips from potatoes. So someone had gotten potatoes and actually cut each strip themselves by hand and cooked them.
They would have wanted to be so good.
I got to be completely honest. I really just wanted a pack of CCs.
Yeah, I know.
You know?
Huh. Do you have these in barbecue?
Yeah, or you know, do you have some sour cream with these or anything? Can you just shake some seasoning on them? My God, they just taste like
these
potatoes.
are bland. It's like some idiot cut some potatoes.
So, but yeah. Anyway, I'm not. Look, I'm simply saying for anyone holding out for a price drop, I don't think that's an unreasonable thing to do. And most importantly, right now, they're not missing out on anything.
No, that is true. That's kind of my attitude, is that I'm not in any particular hurry until Home and
I think
Little Big Planet.
Home's out shortly, but Little Big Planet isn't out till next year.
No, that's not true. Well, that's not true.
Okay,
that's not what I've heard. What I've heard is there's going to be 2 versions of it, one of which will be a download, and that will be available and there will also, a month or something after that, be a CD purchase version.
Right.
Now, what exactly is the difference between those? But I believe both of them would be available this year.
Okay, this year. But yeah. I'm simply saying, and I think you'd agree, that our attitudes on the PlayStation 3 have changed somewhat since it's actually magically been released.
Our official attitude to the PlayStation 3 is pretty much, it's pretty good, unless you've got an Xbox 360. Unfortunately, almost all of us do.
Well, it's not even... Actually, no, I wouldn't even say... That's not my official attitude. My official attitude is...
Yes, it is.
No, it's not. Don't tell me what to think. My official attitude on the PlayStation 3 is simply... Hold on, I actually don't know. It's
Do you want me to tell you what to think? Does that help?
No, just that it's a lot... It's redeemed itself a lot in the last month. And it's...
Yes.
As opposed to being an unreasonably expensive machine with unrealized potential, now it's an unreasonably expensive machine with
soon to be realized potential. Yes,
as in we can actually see some of the potential now, which makes a difference.
Indeed.
But yeah.
That being said, moving from the PlayStation 3 to the Xbox 360.
Why not? Let's jump.
Now, but it's actually quite a neat little link, and I want everyone to point it out now. Or not point it out, because I know, but at least notice and go,
you think you're so clever, don't you?
I do. There has been a bit of an issue between Sony and Microsoft recently with the launch, or the announcement at least, of the Elite, the Xbox 360 Elite, the now named black thingy.
Yeah.
Console, not. Anyway. Apparently, basically, Sony was saying, congratulations, you've made a PlayStation 3, pretty much. Because, I mean...
Because it's black, it's got a big hard drive and it's got HDMI.
Exactly.
But the price is the same.
Almost the same. It's like $20 cheaper or something.
Hold on, almost the same as the PlayStation 3?
Yeah.
No, I thought the price was the same as the original Xbox 360.
No, no, very not.
Oh.
No, the price is quite substantially more.
Oh, wow, I wasn't aware of that.
Yeah, so,
wow.
So that's interesting. I think that with the HD add-on...
yeah.
No, the actual HD DVD.
See,
but maybe it's not, because...
are you sure it's the same?
I am pretty sure. But that could be just with the HD DVD add-on as well, to take it up to spec,
Sony
essentially.
all along have always said the reason that we charge so much for our console is Blu-ray. Blu-ray, it is the cheapest Blu-ray player on the market. Great, fantastic, whatever. If Microsoft is coming along and releasing this thing because it's got a bigger hard drive and it's black...
And HDMI.
and HDMI, and they're turning around and saying pay the same as the PlayStation 3, then I'm sorry, that just doesn't float at all. Not one little bit, not one iota, not one millisecond.
Scrickend.
Yes.
You had nowhere there, did you? You had nowhere to go.
What do you mean, a millisecond?
Sorry.
That is the smallest measurement of water.
The smallest measurement of
a millisecond.
Flotation,
yes.
I guess.
It goes litres, then milliseconds. No, milliliters and millisecons.
Scrickens first, then milliseconds.
Yes.
Alright, whatever. Anyway, this is so stupid.
It's not stupid. Didn't you learn about scrickens in school?
I went to a good school. There was a point that I was trying to get to, labouring towards, which is that people haven't really jumped on to the Elite and how much they love it at this point.
Stop. You're simply saying that because that's based on an article that actually came out recently that actually said that hardcore gamers are not warming to the 360 Elite. It was a report from Brand Intel or some PR company.
Yeah, Brand Intel, they're a consultancy.
I'm sorry, I call whatever sort of thing. I'm just like
BS.
BS. Frankly, how can gamers not warm to the concept of an existing successful console tweaking features to be even better?
No. Yes, I'm sure everyone would love to be given one. What gamers are not necessarily warming to is, do they definitely need one? Do hardcore gamers already have an Xbox 360 and see no reason to jump across? Do they think it's overpriced? Do they think the features are not worth the addition? Do they not like the black? Do they think the buttons are too shiny? There are reasons not to like it, and people have...
No, there's not. There's no reasons not to like it. It is perfect.
Yug's a fan, and a brainless idiot.
It's black. Come on. I mean, look, the Wii is going to release remotes soon that are in multicolours. Pretty colours. White is yesterday, man. White's out.
Tell that to Apple.
I am telling that to Apple.
Dear Apple, white is out.
White is
Thank
so
you,
yesterday.
Yug.
That's right. The Wii, the 360, man, white was so early 2000s. Right? Now it's all about the black. Black is back, baby.
Black is the new black.
Black is the new black.
Actually, what was it? Moon Unit was telling me, saying black is the new black is the new black. Which I thought was kind of amusing.
Anyway, look, I'm speaking out of my arse here. I love the concept of a 360 that's in black, but I understand what you're saying, mainly because I already have a 360, and I'm not going to be getting one because I already have a 360.
My understanding, I actually am interested in the Elite for one reason. And you'll be surprised. Okay, you won't be surprised, it turns out.
Does
HDMI.
your TV support it?
No, but it supports DVI, and that's a simple conversion.
It's nice.
Just a different plug. So, what? They're both digital signals. It's just a different pin out.
Yeah, but my Xbox plugs into my monitor. What's the difference?
That's RGB, it's not DVI.
Are you sure?
It's
yes,
DVI.
it is. It's a converter. So
didn't you use a converter to get that? What's?
It's a cable that goes from the back of my Xbox into my monitor. There is no RGB cables that do that.
My understanding was the Xbox.
Dude, my Xbox goes to a resolution of some ridiculous amount on my monitor because my monitor supports it.
Well, clearly I'm wrong, but
I
actually thought it only did high definition on a component, but apparently I'm wrong on that.
Well, no, because it's a digital. I'm not even going to say that because I'm going to be wrong. But what I do know is HDMI is a particular type of output that does video and sound.
Yes.
Right. So if you're going to get a converter which steps that down to something different, then I don't. Okay, I'm talking out of my ass here, even though I own a 360, but you are too.
No, I'm not. I might have been wrong on the Xbox 360. I actually didn't think it could do DVI output, and it would appear that it can. It might not do HDMI, but if it does DVI, good enough. But the difference between DVI and HDMI is only sound. That's the only difference with them. It's the exact same
Right, well,
picture.
in that case, yes, the normal Xbox does DVI out.
Right.
Quite happily.
So it has a plug in the back that's the same as the one on the...
I had to get a specific cable that actually did that.
Where does that cable come from? Where does it go from, like the output or something?
It goes from the back of the Xbox, which is a particular input slot
one of those weird...
into the back of my monitor. There is no middle ground. There's no... It is a perfect digital image that goes up to a resolution of something ridiculous.
I just didn't think it did that. I thought its highest output was component. But clearly I'm wrong.
You're wrong. Anyway, look, you're wrong, and we've gone over time here, as per usual. Let's just say...
Too much wrongness.
Let's actually just say that our usual podcast of 45 minutes, and we're always early.
We're always early. We are so on time.
We are. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. Have a fantastic Easter.
Yes.
No matter what you do, if you're religious or not. What are you doing this Easter, Matt?
I'm killing kittens.
Killing kittens? Excellent.
Actually, bunnies. Do you know what I always found fascinating?
What did you find
fascinating?
Trying
to explain to children how people justify explaining to children that Jesus died on the cross for your sins, therefore a bunny will go around and lay eggs made of chocolate. None of that makes sense. None of that joins together in any way.
Sure it does. I don't know. I'm going to go get drunk because I can.
Yes, you can.
I went to the bottle shop yesterday, meaning to just pick up a few bourbons. I ended up getting a bottle of bourbon, a 6-pack of Asahi beers, a 4-pack of Smirnoffs. Asahi, a bottle of red, a bottle of white, and a bottle of tequila, just in case.
That sounds like a mix of a Billy Joel song and a John Lee Hooker song.
More like a Tex Perkins sort of
yeah,
song,
with a bit of Tex Perkins as well.
He's coming back, you know. He's reunited with his old
Tex Perkins
band.
Never left.
He didn't, but the band left.
Right.
Right. Anyway, we need to wrap this up.
We need to go. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Right, thank you, everyone,
Bye-bye.
for tuning in.
I love you.
Stuff. No, you don't.
Bye.
Bye.